Hello everyone. We're now doing our second part for our two-part series for building the timetable. I'm assuming at this point you have watched the first video, so you already have an idea of where these courses came from. We're building our schedule using these courses. The one little change that you'll see in a second why I put this here, the Physics 1010, which used to be a six credit course, is now broken down into two sections, which still total the six that was before. They just broke it down. It didn't show in the handbook. I'm sure it's something they're going to update soon, but that's just the one modification. Besides that, we have all our courses here totaling the 24 credits, which is the 8 courses in total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7, 8. This was going to be already a 3 hours per week over 2 terms, but now it's just broken down a little bit more clearly, it seems like. If you're in first year, I would recommend you take this many credits. Maybe you can squeeze one more elective that you choose, you find interesting. I wouldn't really max out the 30 workload in the fall, winter semesters while you have the summer available to you and you don't really know what the workload in university is like. Maybe you're moving away from home, maybe you have a part-time job, you have to adjust to those things. We're going to see in a second there's many different possible classes that you can pick from. The reason for that is besides the 3 hours per week in the lectures that you have, there are sometimes tutorials and labs, and those are offered at different times. If you have a course like chemistry where there is a lab component, you can't have all the students that are in the lecture be in the lab. There's just not enough equipment and space. So maybe the big lecture hall can hold a lot of people, but not everyone for the lab, so they break that down. So when we do build the schedule, you'll see that there are many different options just on that fact alone. Besides that, there's also different ways to arrange 3 hours per week in lecture time. You can have 3 hours in one sitting, 1 and 2 hours per week at different times, 1.5 hours twice a week, or you can have 1 hour 3 times a week. All of these will total 3 hours in 1 week, but you can clearly arrange it differently. In the STEM courses, the science, math, and all of that, they usually prefer the 1 hour per 3 times in the week, just because then the classes don't overwhelm you all in one sitting. There's a lot of information being thrown at you, so if you get lost in the first 40 minutes and there's 2 hours left to go, you're going to be quite lost by the end of it. So usually having the smaller sections is preferred, if not just the only option available. So I went to search courses York U, and then I click on the first link here on Google, and it'll take me to a page here that, because I have an account, it automatically shows me. But this is where you would go to search the subject. Again, this is the previous year, so if you're signing up for the next year, you would appear eventually here. Let's do the first course for physics, and I'll show you what I was talking about in terms of the different courses there. So I gotta just find physics. Where are you? Not that. Physics, there you are. So search that, and you see the very first two options is physics 11 and 12. They don't have the 1010 anymore, so physics 1, physics 2. So it seems like they broke it down, which makes sense as well. Not a big deal. So if I click on that, it's going to show me for one class who the professor instructor is, the lecture time. There's also a tutorial time. And then there's lab 1, lab 2, lab 3, lab 4, lab 5, lab 6, so on and so forth, with different lab instructors at different times during the week as well. So everyone would be getting the lecture and tutorial, but then the difference would be when do you have your lab. You can see here the days of the week: Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then there's T for Tuesday, and then there's R for Thursday, because I guess there's an R in it. Don't argue with the logic. R means Thursday. I don't know why it's not TH or just H. They picked R, and I'm just letting you know. I had an argument with my class before about it. They were arguing like I made that, but that's usually the way it goes for the courses. So there we have the usual breakdown, but this is just one class. Kind of hard to see what your schedule is going to look like. So what you can do is you can go on Google and search up instead a visual builder. So let's go back a few slides here. And I can search up Visual Builder York U, and on the very first link it'll take you to this page here where I can use the Visual Builder to build my schedule, but also get a little visual demonstration. They have a video here showing you, but we're gonna actually build this schedule to see what our first year would look like. So I would select the term. Again, we're incoming 2020-21. Physics 10. Again, 10-10 is not an option. 10-11. I would select it. If I make this a little bit bigger, you can see that there's 5 different options already. There's physics, the lecture, the tutorial, and the lab. And if I click through it, you can see the lab changes location. That's the 3-hour lab section. But the lecture and tutorial, everyone has the same time together. So let's add all these courses first. So I then go physics 10, 12. That's the other one. Select. And it's nice because it color codes as well. Chemistry 1000. Oops, missed. Chemistry 1001. EECS 1541. Select that. Math 1013. Math 10. Whoops. 10. Nope, I misclicked everything. Oop, try that again. Math 10 14. There you go. And last but not least, Math 1025. We should have 5 courses now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sorry, 8 courses, not 5. So we have all the courses here. Now we get to pick. We have a small selection of 23,000 courses. So this video is probably going to be over 10 hours long because we're going to check every single possible schedule to see the best optimal one. Of course, that's a joke. That would take way too long. Let's not do that. There's a few things we can do to narrow down all these options. First of all, we want to have 4 classes per term in the fall and then the winter, from like September to December, our fall term, and then January to April, our winter term. We're going to split them up. Well, physics 10-11, physics 1, we should probably have in the fall term, and physics 2 we should probably have in the winter term. That didn't change anything, but let's do the same for chemistry. We should have probably chemistry 1000 in the fall, and then chemistry 1001 in the winter. So that will help already narrowing it down quite a bit. And now we have a few other classes here. Applied calculus, we should probably have that first because it's the first one, and then applied calculus 2 second. So now we have physics, chemistry, and math broken down. Then we have this course here, which can only be in the winter, the introduction to computing for physical sciences. So to balance it out, we're probably going to put the linear algebra in the fall. So now we have 4 courses in the fall, 4 courses in the winter. We already narrowed it down to 5,000 options from the initial 26,000. So that's quite a bit. It might seem like a lot, but if you look at one individual class, you'll see that each option is just a small different change that's taking place. So what you might want to do is you might click off all these classes and just look at one at a time, or maybe one like the chemistry ones that have 53 or 54 options. Those ones have quite a few different orientations there to arrange. So let's check that out. There's the 3 1-hour classes, the lecture at different times. And then there is the 1.5-hour lectures. And then there is the 3 hours coming up, or this is a 1 hour and 2 hour. And then there's probably one more maybe for the 3 hours. Let's see. And then there's the, oh, never mind. There is no 3 hours. That would be kind of overwhelming. Even the 2-hour lecture is already kind of long. So you can already see maybe you work in the afternoon, maybe 2 hours of chemistry is kind of not what you want to be doing on Tuesday night. Maybe you have a morning shift, so you can select quite a few options in that way. And then if you select that, you chose this one instead, you now know what you're looking for. So I'm looking for term F, lecture section C. Oh, this one's full. This one's available. So then I maybe pick this one so I can find this class, section C, lecture 1, tutorial 1, lab 1. And now I pinned this option. Now if I re-add all the other options, oh, we might have no results. That's not good. There's clearly a conflict there. That's what it's going to complain about. Your pin down class is overlapping, so that doesn't work. So let's pick one that's not overlapping, probably one of the morning ones. There you go. So now if I pinned this class that I liked instead, it would narrow it down to 172 choices, so way more manageable. And you can see the schedule is kind of showing you 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So the 3 1-hour blocks kind of seems to be the favorite, again, like I mentioned before, for the STEM classes. And that way you can arrange it. So if you do that for the other chemistry class, this 172 will probably go down quite a bit. We can actually just test that right now. Let's say we pin this one. Look at that. Now we're only at 20 options. So if you pick your chemistry classes, which have the most possibilities, the other ones kind of fall into place like puzzle pieces, and then you're down to just the last few options. Another really big factor that could determine what you want to pick is who is teaching the course. So something that you might not experience in high school is that you don't have really a say what course you're going to do. Again, this here, you're clearly selecting it by yourself. So maybe because you are paying for this, it's a service that you're choosing, you want to look at the reviews. So you would find who is teaching the class, and maybe there's a section A, which has Professor 1, and section B, which has Professor 2. And you can look up online many websites. The most common one is something like Rate My Prof that has their standards. So I pulled up 2 different people here. And I changed the names. Again, you can probably find it if you really want, but these are 2 chemistry professors. I actually had the pleasure of having both really good professors. York, again, overall a positive experience. So if you had Professor 1 with 127 reviews, 4.9 out of 5, 97 people would take it again. The level of difficulty not very high, so clearly a very positive attitude. So, most helpful rating, or the most recent rating, was a positive one, talking about their experience. Here's another professor, again, chemistry professor at York University. I just changed the names again. About the same amount of ratings, so clearly both of them are been there and have been there for a while. A little bit lower on the scale, not many people will take it again, a little bit higher difficulty, but again, it might work for you, it might not. This person, again, November 18th, a recent review, had, again, a positive experience in the class. So it's not like an end-all be-all, this is the better professor, but it might be the better professor for you, or it might be that the quote-unquote lower one might work out for you a little bit better. So again, just like any product, it doesn't hurt to look at the reviews, talk to people, and check out what the public says. Right, just to get an opinion, an idea, especially if you're going in for your first year and you don't know any of the professors. Maybe when you start, you meet some older students, or you talk to some of the professors and you're like, oh, I really like this person, I don't like this person, or the teaching style doesn't really fit with what I want. Again, you are paying for the university. You do want to pick something that is worth your money and worth your time. So there we have our schedule built. It is really up to you how you're going to build this schedule and how you're going to do it. The idea is check out what the requirements are for first year, fill up, especially for first year. There's quite a not much leeway, because there's quite a few mandatory courses you have to take, and that will fill up your schedule right off the bat. So once you fill up your schedule, you can start looking through it. We went from 26,000 options to 20 just by locking in 2 of the classes. And again, you can check the professor and see who you want to have. Check the time. In this schedule here, you have a Tuesday completely off. You're able to have a full day off, which sounds pretty good. Maybe while on the other semester you have a very busy Tuesday, so you can arrange it so maybe you don't have all the labs in one single day. So different ways to arrange the course. And now with especially if you have a work, sports, or other volunteering opportunities, you might have other things that lock in your schedule. So out of these 20, maybe only 4 are really what you're looking at. So it might seem overwhelming at first. We started with this information about the course stream, and then we looked at the first year courses. We had thousands of possibilities, but then we narrowed it down, and then you can pick your course that way. And again, this is for the York University Visual Schedule Builder. Up to your university, they all kind of have something similar to this. If they don't, that's unfortunate, but worst case scenario, you just have to individually find the classes and kind of build this yourself. I did this in my first few years, pretty much through all of York University. They didn't have this system, or maybe I didn't know about it once they did. make it, so I had to do it on paper instead. But that way now you have the ability to make your own schedule. So hopefully this was a helpful video of 2 parts to do that. And I wish you all best of luck as you start your new adventures in university. Thank you for watching and have a good day.